Straight Shooter segment. Sponsor, of course, coincidentally, is Straight Shooter. Go to straightshooter.ac. Their number is 619-922-3937. 619-922-3937. When's the last time you had your air conditioner or heater replaced? Give them a call and make sure you're staying cool when you want to stay cool and warm when you want to stay warm. You do not want to wait for your air conditioner or heater to break. You want to get an analysis of it. First off, you want to maintenance it first, and then you want to maintain it and take care of the maintenance first, and then you want to replace this thing before it fails you. Unbelievably inconvenient, probably more expensive if you have to all of a sudden replace the thing. And I got to tell you, if it's the middle of July and you got to wait 2 weeks because you didn't take care of this, man, you're going to be miserable. So check these guys out. They will shoot you straight. They're wonderful sponsors. They're great people.
Dude, we had them here in the studio. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah.
They were great guys.
They are great guys.
Yep.
Okay, so this is it, the Straight Shooter segment. No bull, just straight shooting on today's hottest topics, political, gun, a little bit of both. It's time for the Straight Shooter segment. A couple of things I wanted to talk about, and Sam, you, me, and Alicia, we're gonna chat here about a couple of things. The first is you heard about the what happened in New York with that assassination attempt. Did you hear about that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I did, yes.
So Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, was shot to death Wednesday outside the New York Hilton Midtown in Manhattan, where the company was actually hosting an investor. Thompson, age 50, was named CEO of UnitedHealthcare, UnitedHealthcare Group's insurance arm, in April of 2021. He first joined UnitedHealthcare Group in 2004 and had previously served as CEO of the company's government programs, including Medicare, retiree, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There is the video on online. You can actually see the video of the assassin, and that is not hyperbole to call this guy an assassin. This was absolutely an assassination. You saw a person lay in wait, and then when he saw, somehow he knew who he was going after. He knew where they were staying and waited and approached that person and shot him multiple times. And it was horrible and tragic. This guy is still on the loose. He got away. He had some kind of weird message. You know, I don't see it in front of me. He actually, on the casings that were ejected from the gun, he had etched 3 words. And it was clear that the 3 words it was clear that he knew what he was doing when he was shooting an insurance guy. It was like deny. Well, we'll get it to you by the end, but it was one of the indicators, and a very clear indicator, that this guy knew what he was doing. He knew what he was going after. It was really, really bizarre.
Delay, deny, and depose.
Delay, deny, depose. He took the time to etch that on the casings that he left at the scene, which I think is very, very telling, and kind of bone-chilling. I mean, that's pretty creepy. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that came up pretty quick, and one of the things I wanted to talk about, is the gun that was used. It was very odd. It was a little bit grainy. The video was a little bit grainy, but you could still kind of see the gun. And he pretty clearly had a suppressor. And a lot of people were speculating that he had experience because it looked like he was clearing malfunctions. Now, when I first saw this thing, I thought, that's not what he's doing. He's not clearing malfunctions. No. That's not what it looks like. Because he was definitely, he was doing like a slingshot motion. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he could have just been, a lot of people slingshot it, you know, if they don't really know what they're doing. But it just wasn't quite, it just didn't quite add up when I was looking at it. And I thought, well, maybe, you know, a couple people suggested, hey, maybe it's a 22, you know, what is it, the Ruger. Well,
the Mark, like the Mark III,
Mark III, yeah. Mark IV, those
Browning.
Yeah, it kind of looked, but it was too big for that, and it just didn't quite add up. And I thought, well, that's weird. So come to find out, it was this very, very odd choice of firearm that we want to talk about. But I want to play a clip before we get into it. I want to play a game while we play this clip. Listen to this clip.
Count the number of errors.
Yeah, see if you can.
I already started earlier.
Yeah, it's just a couple minutes. See if you can jot down the number of errors that these people make. I mean, it's if it weren't
let me get out my whiteboard for this.
Yeah. If it weren't such a tragic subject, it would be funny, but it really is hilarious how uninformed they are. I mean, the media is just, anyway, go ahead, play the clip.
The breaking news, we've got new details about the gun used by the suspected shooter. Police revealing just moments ago that they are looking into the possibility, as you look here, that the assassin used, right there, let's pause it, that gun in his hand as a veterinarian gun. That's a larger firearm. It's used on farms and ranches. Police are also revealing they're talking to Brian Thompson's family as well as people he worked with and local law enforcement in Minnesota. They're saying so far they don't have any indications that the killing had anything to do with his personal life. Back with me now, the former Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis and former NYPD Detective David Sarney. Okay, obviously, this is, at this point, moving very quickly here on this Friday night. Ed, can I just start with you, this gun, and we were freeze-framing it there. We've heard about it, that there were a couple of jams, right, that might have had to do with the silencer so far. But now this new reporting, a larger sort of rifle used to put down animals on farms. What would that actually reveal about this killer, that he would have had such a gun?
Hi, Aaron. There certainly have been a number of theories as to why that gun had to be cocked so many times. And frankly, this is a valid explanation for it. If this is a specialized weapon that's used on a farm, it wouldn't need to be automatically able to fire after each round. It would be something that you could do a single shot with. And it appears as though that's what's happening here. Now, that would lead one to believe that there may be some nexus to rural areas of the country, and this is either someone who's been aggrieved by the insurance company or maybe even an activist that is making a statement about business.
Right. So, David, this is obviously new information, but can I just ask you your instinct on how hard it would be to obtain something like this? And I guess to state the obvious, I don't want to say a normal person because we're not talking about a normal person, but it isn't obviously the first, second, or even third, or even 15th kind of thing you'd think of in terms of a gun, right? It is very specific, right?
Definitely very specific, and accessibility always deals with firearms. And that's why when this video came out, everybody was already making perceptions. And the benefit of this is when you start researching this and start doing the work, you find out more nuances about this firearm. We thought it was jammed, as former commissioner said. This is an unusual type of firearm to bring, but it comes back to accessibility. Someone had access to this. Did the shooter have it? Did he obtain access from someone else? Did he steal the gun from a location? And there is some slight of proficiency in utilizing the firearm. So is he the one that owned that gun? Because that gun is, usually when it comes to firearms, the gun usually floats from place to place, person to person. Usually when it comes to the legal firearm.
Okay, so that, some of they kind of painted the picture a little bit, accurately, but there's some of them were comically weird. Like at one, she sat there and watched the video and saw it in his hands, and then said, hey, this guy had a rifle,
Right?
Like she can't even seeing a firearm in someone's hands, and she still doesn't know the difference between a pistol and a rifle. Alicia, what are some of the? What's another? Is there something else you picked up on that they screwed up?
Cocking versus racking.
Yeah, that was one. Sam, what do you got? You got anything?
Those are two of the ones I wrote down, but I'm going to have to be a little contentious on this one. I think the NYPD got it wrong when they said it was a veterinary pistol.
Oh, really? Okay. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think everyone's completely wrong about this. Well, not everyone, because there are some other people who are disagreeing, but I think that the authorities got it wrong and are in a rush to present new information to make it look like they have leads.
Okay. Before you go, so do you think that? So I think it's a B&T. Do you think it's not a B&T VP9, or are you saying a B&T VP9 is not a veterinary gun?
I don't think it's a VP9.
Oh, what do you think it is?
I think it's just some regular semi-automatic pistol with a suppressor then attached. Here's why think so. I have reasoning for this.
Okay.
Not just shooting from the hip as were. The B&T VP9, or as it's sold in the United States, the Station 6, is a bolt-action pistol, which requires some little bit more complicated manipulation to chamber each round, to eject the spent casing and chamber the next round. Now, that consists of rotating. There's an end cap on the rear of the gun. I don't have one, so I can't show you, obviously. But there's an end cap on the rear of the gun, and that's like a knob, and you twist on it to unlock the pull. You have to kind of rotate the gun to eject the spent casing, because it doesn't really have a side ejection port like we would expect. It has an open top, so you'd have to tip the gun over to eject the spent casing, then close the bolt again and rotate it back into place to lock it. Now, this could be accomplished quickly with sufficient training, but it doesn't appear that the shooter in the video was doing this.
That wasn't the motion you think he was doing. By the way, just to build on what you're saying a little bit, the gun that they're claiming it is, tracing its roots back to the covert World War II era Welrod pistol, WELROD pistol, as well as the more modernized contract VP9, the all-new Station 6.9. There's a couple different names it kind of goes by. Harkens back to the famed Bride Hall weapons acquisition section. Okay, so it's 9mm, the one they're talking about. It's bolt action. They describe it as bolt action. Holds 9 rounds. It's about 2 pounds, and the barrel length is just about 3 inches. But then you throw the suppressor on there, and it's much longer. I don't know what the exact length of it is, but let's see what else. 9mm, a 3-inch barrel, operational excitement, but it definitely has, like you said, an end cap. I can't describe how, I don't know how it works. I haven't actually seen that action work, but you're right. And like I said earlier, it's definitely kind of this slingshot action. And this, I don't know if that weird, cap is a slingshot action or not. So you just think it's some other kind of commonly owned semi-automatic or that jammed?
I do, yes. And here's part of my reasoning for that. In fact, nearly all semi-automatic centerfire pistols on the market today operate on a short recoil tilting barrel action as designed by John Browning. They're all basically derivatives of 1911's action. They lock a little bit differently, but the actual principles and mechanism are the same. So in a recoil operated firearm, the barrel and the bolt, or in this case slide, are locked together for a portion of the travel. Short recoil means they're not locked together for the entirety of travel. The barrel and slide will travel to the rear a fraction of an inch before the barrel tilts down, unlocking it from the slide. The slide continues rearward, ejects the thing, then bottoms out at the rear of its travel, then forced forward again by the recoil spring. It'll pick up a new round from the magazine, chamber it, and then connect with the barrel again, which will tip back up into place, locking into the slide, and you're ready to fire again. Now, when you throw that action out of balance by adding a large mass on the end in the form of a suppressor, you have to do something else to make that action work reliably again. And that consists of called a booster, which goes in between the suppressor and the pistol itself. It's like a piston system, kind of, where it allows the barrel to move as it needs to, unimpeded by the suppressor at the beginning of its travel.
Interesting.
Additionally, in many cases, you will need to, or you will want to, change out the recoil spring in the pistol for a lighter weight one so that it can reliably cycle with the suppressor attached and with subsonic ammunition that you would normally be able to fire with a normal weight recoil spring if you did not have a suppressor. And
that's very interesting. You should write that up, man. You should write all that up. I think that's very. I'm listening and kind of thinking through, and I think it's a very distinct possibility. They haven't caught the guy. I don't know if they'll ever find the weapon, the exact weapon, even if they do catch the guy. He could have completely thrown it away. Maybe he stole it from someone. We have no idea. But, it's really weird.
Do you know what it looks like when someone fires a semi-automatic pistol suppressor that doesn't have a booster on it?
It looks like that video.
It looks exactly like in the video. You
Well,
get repeated short strokes, failures to cycle, and the guy has to tap, rack, bang it, which is what he's doing in the video.
He's trying to pound it in a battery.
it's interesting that the guy,
So-
it's interesting that he had the wherewithal to etch something onto his casings and that he knew how to clear a malfunction if that in fact is what it is. Either he's using the gun they're claiming he's using and he knew how to work it, or he's using a different gun that malfunctioned and he knew how to clear a malfunction, which by the way, I think it's harder to know how to clear a malfunction than it is to know how that the single shot they're claiming it is actually functions. But I don't know. We may never know. It's interesting to see the reaction. A lot of folks on the left are cheering this guy on, and then a smaller portion of folks on the right are cheering this guy on. This whole time in history kind of smacks of French Revolution, man. I mean, it's cheering on the CEO of a company like that in protest of how the healthcare insurance industry goes is pretty. It's pretty amazing what we're doing and where we're at in history. But what else? Any other thoughts on this before we move on?
Well, I don't want to make any political statements with regards to this event. I will say is repeating what I've already said, that the video evidence we have shows pretty clearly that it was not the gun
It wasn't the veterinary
NYPD
gun.
are claiming it is, and they're full of crap.
All right. Well, if we ever find out what it is, we need to circle back and give you a big pat on the back. That's very, very interesting. I hope you're right, because that's you've shed light on something for me, and yeah, that's pretty interesting. I hope that's exactly what it is.
This guy was very calm, by the way.
Who was? Yeah,
The
he
shooter.
was, right?
He just, there was no hustle. He didn't try to run. He clearly, I disagree a little bit. I don't feel like he knew well how to clear whatever he was dealing with. It looked like he kind of struggled and was trying to figure it out. But he was very calm through it. Like you see a lot of people on the range that have malfunctions. There often is a little bit of panic,
Yeah.
right? And he actually threw it, although I don't think he was great at what he was doing, he was calm through it.
Yeah. No, he wasn't perfect. He clearly hasn't been to front sight and graduated.
Right.
But, like I said, he was calm.
Yeah.
Honestly, he was kind of insanely calm.
It was uncomfortably calm.
Yeah. Like this guy might be off. He's either better at it than the average person, or he's crazy. Like, that appears to be. And they're looking for him in Atlanta, which is kind of weird. I don't know how I guess they went to the bus stop where they think he caught a bus and it was going to Atlanta. So I don't know. So. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And thanks for checking out Gun Owners Radio.